GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, all the ships at sea. Welcome, and Jolan True, to another supplemental log for the GNT show. I'm Gettysburg 7. Over there, to my right, your left, Ceridium.
Kapla.
And I'm Gettysburg 7.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing all right. We're doing this interview at 2:30 in the morning. No, we're not. So we have a special guest with us. Now, regular listeners of the show know that I had sworn growing up and being a fan, and then when I got my geek back on, that I would never go to a convention. I'm not one of those guys. But a couple of years ago, Dave Mack, Star Trek author, because of the friendship that we had formed when I was in Iraq and emailing, he told me, hey, I'm going to be in your area. Why don't you come on down to Baltimore, Timonium, to Shore Leave? And there's a bunch of other Star Trek authors there, and just come on down and have a good time. So I hemmed and hawed and said, no, I'm not going to go, but I wound up going. Now, at the time, I was still in the service. I hadn't retired from the Army yet, and my commander let me go early, so I was in uniform. And I walked in, and two things happened. One, I wasn't even in the door 30 seconds, and this nice lady walked up to me. And remember, this is my first convention ever. I'm just trying to get my bearings, trying to figure out where I am. I'm at the top of the escalator, and our guest knows exactly where I'm talking about. And she comes up to me and says, "What are you supposed to be?" I said, I'm a soldier. And I'm like pointing to the U.S. Army. I'm like, I'm a real soldier. She's like, oh. And then the other thing is, about 10 minutes after arriving, Majel Barrett had said in Trekkies, and I finally understood it, you can go to a convention and not know anyone, and you will leave with thousands of friends. And I was there about 10 minutes and thought, why have I never done this before? And Shore Leave is very special because it's a fan-run convention. So to talk to us about this, and Shore Leave 38, which is coming up in July, is Mike Schilling from Shore Leave.
Hello, everyone. Very glad to be here.
Jolan True, Mike.
Jolan True to you.
Welcome.
It's Romulan, isn't it?
See, he's a good man.
He's a good man.
He understands.
From unification, I believe, right?
It doesn't matter. It's Romulan. It's Rihansu.
It works.
See, Ceridium.
It sounds good no matter what you apply it to.
Ceridium is part of the galactic trash of the universe.
Hey, now.
Well, that's what Admiral Cartwright said.
And you know where he
You
ended
must
up.
have just gotten there to Shore Leave right before Masquerade, or at least on Saturday when most folks are dressed up and everything.
Yep.
So
It
they
was
would
a
have
Saturday.
to, for some folks who come in, their uniforms are so detailed that you literally cannot tell the difference between the real thing and a masquerade. But I guess it was all in the timing. But I'm very, very glad that your first Shore Leave experience was such a memorable one.
And that was it was the year Katie Sackhoff and James Olmos were there.
Oh, I was maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago.
I want to say
somewhere
4
in
or
that
5
range.
years ago, yeah.
Give or take.
And
We've had some really fantastic names in recent years. And what Majel Barrett said is very apropos to, well, not just necessarily Shore Leave, but to, conventions in general, especially conventions that have more of a fanish bent to them, that are more volunteer-driven than corporate. But really all conventions would really apply to that. So I try to tell people, and I don't want to get off the subject too much too early, but I tell people all the time who have never been to one or just on the fence, and they can't help but think about that classic skit from Saturday Night Live back in
Get a Life.
76 or whatever it was. No, that was before that with Belushi. But,
yeah, that was
and
76,
people,
77.
right, they think it's nothing but with geeks. I say, yeah, there always, of course, there's that element to it, and I'm proud of it too. But the thing is, you've got to give it a chance because, almost every person I've ever met who's not been before, and then I talk to them afterwards, email, Facebook, or in person at the convention, and they tell me in almost every case how wonderful it was and how they will be back. And with all the work that we put in to put this convention through every year, to hear such kind words from so many people really makes all the hard work worth it. It really does.
Well, our show, every year we have a booth at the Star Trek Las Vegas, the creation event. And that is a real, and that's a couple of years now. I haven't been able to go to Shore Leave because it's been the same weekend.
I know, we're very aware of that. That's why we tried to move back into the old homestead back in July, where I feel we belong. Hopefully, I can't speak for the future, but we are going to try to stay there. Lots will depend on what the San Diego Comic-Con does because they keep moving.
Right,
but that's
exactly.
a separate issue. But you're right. When we're right opposite those monster conventions, like it is sometimes difficult for us to obtain guests and everything. A lot of the writers are going there too. So it is difficult because there are so many conventions that it's very hard to find a weekend where you're all to yourself.
Just last weekend, I was at AwesomeCon in D.C. And this weekend is the Harrisburg Comic-Con up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is about the same distance away from where I live. And, we've got Shore Leave. Now, and Ceridian will tell you this. I get excited for Vegas. I get excited for AwesomeCon. But Mike will tell you, I talk up Shore Leave and Farpoint every year. And the reason is because they are small. I always describe them as intimate.
That's a good way to say it.
I see the same faces. People I may not say, you see them and you say, hey, how are you? I don't even know their name. But we see each other every year at both conventions.
And in a lot of cases, you really don't see these folks at any other gathering. So, in a way, this becomes more and more important to you as you get older. The friendships that you gather through these events become more and more important to you over the course of time. And like I just said, a lot of the folks that you see at Shore Leave and our slightly smaller sister convention, Farpoint, you see a lot of the same people, and you're really very, very happy to see them. And that is something, if you find yourself going to conventions for many, many years, as I have, becomes more and more important to you over time. Because after all, how many autographs can you pick up, right? So the things that you look forward to change subtly over time.
One thing that we always complain about at Shore Leave, and it's not you guys, but is the best part in a lot of ways, is how small the bar is. But you're mingling with everybody, and everybody's in there, and some of the best conversations I've ever had are in Shore Leave at it's the bar/restaurant area.
And you never know who you're going to find in there.
Exactly.
In the past, I won't drop any names, but there have been some Shore Leave guests in the past who have been seen, mingling, shall we say, in the bar over the course of years. It has been known to happen, so you just never know who you're going to bump into. Plus, they've got that great restaurant in there and everything. Yeah. And you never know who's going to be at the next table. And this is, again, something that I adore about Shore Leave and other conventions like ours, because, and I know it's an old hackneyed expression, you've heard it a million times, but I do like to call it the best of both worlds. Because you've got a convention that's big enough where you've got a crowd of 1,500 to maybe a couple thousand people if you count all the guests and their helpers and their families and what have you, and staff. And that's a large enough of a crowd to create a real buzz and a real sense of excitement and everything. But it's not so large that it becomes a cattle call. It's not so large where you can't squeeze through the room or be able to just find a quiet corner somewhere and talk to somebody you haven't seen in a year, or if you're lucky enough to catch a guest star at their autograph table and it's a slow moment, you can actually take 5-10 minutes and actually talk to them, and that's a very, very special thing. I can't speak to what happens in other conventions in other cities far from here, but that's been my experience, and I think it's a good thing that we actually can be that small. So are we in competition with those huge shows like Comic-Con or the Las Vegas Grand Slam? Of course we're not. that's a whole other ball game. You're talking 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, and we're designed to, take 1,500 at once. That's the hotel. But we're not a bit sad about that because that size is just about right for the kind of interaction we want to have between attendee and attendee and our guests to make it something really special.
Well, and I
Right
think
on.
what makes like Shore Leave special to me is I sat down, like you were saying, the year Musetta Vander was there.
Gorgeous.
Oh God, and we wound up talking. She like patted the seat at her table and was like, "Oh, sit down, talk to me." And we wound up talking for like 45 minutes.
Oh, gladly.
Yeah, yeah. Please ask me twice. And but it's just so it for people that don't think that a small convention can offer. I think it offers way more. We first met Vic Mignogna when they were first getting ready to do Star Trek Continues. He and Chris
really
Doohan
cool
were there.
guy. That's an interesting story. I had not seen him before, but right before I met him, I think it was after one of our major guest speakers went up. And after the guest speaker, I think this was on a Saturday, the convention Saturday, and I think they ran one of the Star Trek Continues films. And at that point, I hadn't seen any of them yet. Okay? And actually, as a matter of fact, I think it was the one that Michael Forrest was in. What was the name of that?
Pilgrim of Eternity.
Yeah, that was the first episode.
Pilgrim of Eternity. And man, did I love it. So afterwards, I caught Mr. Mignogna at the table, and I said, you were fantastic, and I love that movie, and I can just tell the love of original Star Trek shines through in every frame. He gave me a big beaming smile, and thanked me most profusely and everything for all the kind words and all that. But yeah, he's very, very nice. And I always try to catch all the Star Trek Continues films as they come out. But yeah, we had him a few years ago, and that's how I first saw my first Star Trek Continues. How apropos that Michael Forrest is one of our special guests this year.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you that people have asked us, the show. How much, if you can talk about it, does it take in just yearly a cost to put on something like Shore Leave?
Well, you see, two problems with that. One, I'm not really at liberty to give all the numbers out.
Right.
And secondly, I'm not really in that particular part of it. I do have a small part of the convention budget is designed specifically for the use of publicity and media relations, and that's my cup of tea. So I know how much I can spend, but the overall budget is really only something I see like once. But let's say that it can run, close to six figures at times.
The reason I brought that up is because there's people think that like, and we've talked about it on the show, like Creation, because of Las Vegas, that they make millions and millions of dollars, and we've said no. You people don't take into account everything that has to go on.
That's exactly right.
Rent,
like
insurance.
I've said a million times, I have to give all the credit in the world to my colleagues in the convention committee and the other members of the Star Trek Association of Towson, because I'm very fortunate to occupy one part of the Shore Leave committee, and I've been doing publicity for about 8 or 9 years, and before that I was in the video department. So I've held different jobs at Shore Leave over the course of the last 30 years. But basically, it's like I say, I'm very honored to do my small part towards making Shore Leave a success. But I don't consider it as important as, say, guest relations, getting all our guest stars, or our people who are man those registration tables all throughout the weekend generally have very little chance to enjoy a lot of the programming themselves, or the folks in security keeping a close eye on everything, make sure everything runs smoothly and everything. These are all very important things. We all do our part, and I just try to do what I can to try to make Shore Leave as successful as I can. That's why I like to call myself the unofficial ambassador of goodwill. I'm naturally more talkative and opinionated than most anyway. That's just how I'm wired. So anybody I talk to, even who seems remotely interested in genre entertainment, I'll say, hey, ever heard of Shore Leave? This is a cool convention, Even if I wasn't on the committee, I'd probably still talk about it because it has meant a lot to me over the last, over the last 30 years. But yeah, I do what I can to try to make it as successful as possible. But a lot goes on behind the scenes, and all I can really say, like I said, I don't have specific numbers that I can really give you, but there is a lot that goes into it, and Shore Leave is basically the culmination of about a year's worth of work by all the members on the committee. You know, you do all that work, and then in 3 days it's all over with, and then you take a few weeks and you go, phew, and then
you guys
you
are
take a
also
short break,
all
and then it's time to
volunteers.
start thinking about the next one, right?
And you guys are all volunteers, correct?
That's right. All of us are volunteers. We always have been. None of us make a single dime over what Shore Leave does. I mean, if there's any kind of a profit, it immediately goes into the coffers to start planning next year's show. And since last year's was in August and we were back to July this year, we actually had less of a turnaround time to prepare. We had to step up things a little bit more quickly in our preparations to try to make the 50th anniversary of Star Trek just a little bit more special.
Now, for those listening in, if you're on the East Coast, Shore Leave is coming up July
15th through the 17th.
Sorry, I had a sneeze right on the tip of my tongue there. And we can tell you who some of the big guests will be. Like Mike said, we have Michael Forrest, who, if you're a Star Trek fan, he was Apollo. Barbara Boucher, still a beautiful woman. Robbie Amell, brother of Stephen Amell, but he's known from The Flash. Also,
he's really popular right now. I think he'll do very, very well. A lot of people tell me good things about Flash and his other series, The Tomorrow People. I've heard good things about that too.
Flash is really good. Anthony Lemke.
Yeah, we've got two from Dark Matter and Lost Girl.
And now, is it pronounced Zoe Palmer?
Yes, actually, I had that exact same question when I first heard
I've never seen it spelled like that before.
Right, but I was told by my colleagues it is supposed to be Zoe. Yes.
Okay.
She's a lovely woman.
Oh, have you seen her before, Mike?
No, I haven't. But sometimes the pictures that appear on the website don't exactly do the actor justice.
No.
Sometimes it's a photo of them in makeup, and sometimes it's just them. It depends. Sometimes it's more flattering than other times.
I was stunned a few years ago at Farpoint. I always thought Felicia Day was attractive, but when I saw her in person, it was like knock your socks off. John Noble, that's really big, and another Dark Matter is there.
Right, that's one of those actors who name a genre, TV series, or movie stands to reason. He's one of those character actors that you don't see much anymore. That I've had great, tremendous respect for down through the years. They're basically in a little bit of everything. Name a series, and he's probably been in it. I mean, I know he's been in Fringe, he's been in Elementary, I know he's been in Sleepy Hollow.
24.
He had a role in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. But yes, he has a very elaborate series of credentials there. We're very, very happy to have him. He's been a little of everything, so I'm sure he'll have a great deal to regale us with, come convention.
Now, friend of the show, he's been on with us. He joined us in Star Trek Las Vegas. He's a friend of Terry, and one of the nicest human beings, Anthony Montgomery.
Yep.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned him. He was just added to our announcements for guests just in the last couple of weeks. He's a recent addition, so he's only just recently been added to our Facebook and Twitter feeds and to the website. And believe me, they're all very thrilled that he has agreed to join us at Shore Leave this year. From a personal standpoint, I mean, as much as I admire these other genre shows that are running right now and all the different fandoms that help make Shore Leave what it is, in my heart of hearts, I'm a Star Trek, fan. Okay, mainly original series, but all the Star Trek series. That's what really laid the track down for me. And especially since this year's the 50th anniversary, I was definitely, from a personal standpoint, practically pleading with my colleagues to have as many Star Trek-oriented guests as possible this year. So I was very happy to hear that he'll be joining us. And there haven't really been that many guests from Enterprise in recent years. So that's a gap that we've definitely needed to fill. And as far as what he's been recently, I believe he's got a regular role on General Hospital these days.
Yeah.
Well, and he is really one of the nicest guys. Just such a positive human being. He's a pleasure to talk to.
And he's created his own comic book as well, so that's fantastic. I mean, he's very talented. Very talented.
Exactly. And I like what you said, by the way, about the fact that he's so nice. Now, again, I don't want to give everybody too much credit, but one thing that I have to give props to our guest relations team. for is that surely may not because of our smallish size and our limited budget, we don't always get the biggest names in the world or all the names together in one place. But what we try to endeavor to do every year is try to get the nicest guests we can. We try to get people who are well recommended by other people in fandom who mention, in other words, folks who aren't, one say, no, I don't want to sign autographs, or I'm only going to be there for an hour, or, I want to have an entourage of 10 security people around me. These people are weird. We like to have people who actually interact well with our attendees. That's a very important thing. So it is a bit of a trade-off, but in almost every case, it has worked out for us. And in that sense, Anthony Montgomery really should fit well into the extended Shore Leave family of the guests we've had down through the years.
Right on. The next guest, Nick, has been just raving. I mean, he's been wanting to meet this person since I've known him.
Yeah, I wonder why.
No, you don't understand. I stopped watching the show when she left.
Okay. I get it now. Okay, I know who you're bringing up now. And let's just say this one quick story. We have got folks, a lot of our folks who are manning our tables and everything, our registration desks and all. Let's just say we have to scrounge a little bit when this person comes on to get people to watch to cover the convention spaces, because everybody wants to be in the room with this particular young lady comes on for her appearance, especially since she's only here on Saturday only, which means everything is squeezing towards that one day. We don't do this all that often, but it just happened to be when she was available. I believe we were thrilled to have her. So yeah, needless to say, that's the one person everybody said, gotta see it. So go on. You were trying to say before I interrupted.
Go ahead.
Well, you can go ahead and announce. Yeah, that's no problem.
Go ahead, Nick. Yes.
Yeah,
one more time.
Yourself.
From Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course,
it's not Nebula, and she was Eliza Dooley on Selfie, and she's my next wife.
Well, good luck with that. But I'm looking at
or his next.
Like I say, the picture of her on our website is very, very nice. But it really shocked me when I first saw that she was Nebula. What an amazing makeup job. She doesn't look really at all like herself.
She shaved her head
around for that role.
And she shaved her head.
Wow.
So that's a dedicated actress for you. But I didn't really initially recognize her, but I have a strong impression. I mean, all our guests are going to be wonderful, but I have the feeling that she's going to draw a rather large, enthusiastic group of fans. No doubt about that.
She was also in a horror movie about a year ago that I went to, and I went solely because it was her, but it was a total mind bender called Oculus, and I really enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it.
And I really enjoyed it because it was almost a Hitchcockian throwback, and I was real happy for her. I don't think it broke the box office or anything like that, but it was nice to see something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So as you can see, we have quite I like to tell folks we have an eclectic cross-section of guests. It used to be a time up till the surely 20-somethings when we mainly concentrated on Star Trek guests, but that's when we started branching out and bringing in guests, especially in the 90s when really hot shows like Buffy was running and Babylon 5 and X-Files and things like that. We started expanding our guest roster and did the remake of Battlestar Galactica and all the different spin-off Stargate series and everything. Before you knew it, all these actors from these series were starting to appear at Shore Leave. As about Star Trek guys said, that's nice and everything, but I'm more Star Trek people, right? But I realized, hey, you have to adapt. There are many other fandoms out there, and they became a part of the Shore Leave extended family too. And it makes us really feel good that in a lot of cases I've heard stories where a certain actor, like the first actor or two from a certain series that's running now, will have such a good time at Shore Leave, they'll go back to their colleagues when they start filming a day or two later and say, hey, this is the convention you need to go at.
Oh, that's
great. This has happened before, where literally on the recommendations of some of our guest stars, other actors in turn will appear at our convention. Again, it's all about word of mouth, word of mouth. And yeah, social media is great, but good old word of mouth and people telling each other a good time they had is probably the best form of advertising and compliment we could ever have.
Well,
of course, we haven't even gotten into the whole thing with the 40-some writers we're supposed to have, and our two artist guests of honor, and of all our science guests, of the two in particular I want to mention, I'm sorry I keep interrupting you guys, but two I want to mention in case we lose track of time. I'm sure you've heard that the original Enterprise model, which has been at Smithsonian since 1976, is currently undergoing a major renovation.
Yeah.
And,
yes, at the Smithsonian, yeah.
Well, what they're doing right now is two of the people who are on that team, Ariel O'Connor and Margaret Whittingham, are scheduled to give a talk on Shore Leave Weekend about how it's going. And I was just in a meeting recently, and I said, guys, you need to book this talk into a larger room, because everywhere I go, when I tell them that people are coming from Smithsonian to talk about the restoration of the Holy of Holies, the original NCC 1701, their ears perk up. Yeah, like all of a sudden I'm interested. So I personally, am really looking forward to that.
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
So keep an eye out for that. But I think they're supposed to have it finished late summer, from what I heard, to have a grand unveiling. But apparently no stone is being unturned in the effort to bring it back to all its original glory.
Well, I don't want to say anything, but Ariel O'Connor is a beautiful lady in her own right.
Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, they've been putting a lot of videos up on Facebook and everything. I've seen a lot of people post a lot of little videos with the progress that they're doing now. And I think their talk ought to be very, very popular. So I want to make sure to mention that too.
Now, you mentioned the authors, and like I said, I discovered Shore Leave because of New York Times best-selling author David Mack.
One of our regulars, yeah.
And our show has become very good friends with Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore. Dayton does a segment for our show called Ask Dayton, where people ask him questions like they would Dear Abby, and he gives his own Dayton spin on it. And we were sorry to see, but I couldn't be upset.
We were very happy to also, to hear about it, but
Kristen Beyer had to pull out, but it's a darn fine reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't she writing for Enterprise?
All Access.
The new series they're developing for next January. Not a bad job if you can get it, right?
No. But David Mack has described Shore Leave as the prom for authors because there's so many every year.
Mm-hmm. And I can't even, sometimes people ask me how so many writers have to be at Shore Leave. You see, we never really set out to make this so writer heavy. We still consider ourselves basically a media convention and everything. So our main emphasis is on our anchor guests and everything. But you see, we started by a real, very quick explanation without boring you to tears too much. But back in the olden days, when I first started going, my first Shore Leave was Shore Leave 8. That was in 1986. I wasn't a member of the club or on the committee at the time. All right? I can't remember how the first time I heard about it, really. Someone probably gave me a flyer somewhere, and that's how all this started. Anyway, in those days, we mainly had two writers, Howard Weinstein and Robert Greenberger. Right?
The dean.
Right. And one started with us at Shore Leave 2, which one it was. The other one joined us on Shore Leave 3. And with very rare exceptions, those guys have been with us every year since then without fail. And so we always had the Bob and Howie show, no matter what. On Sunday mornings, it's always been there. But over the course of time, I guess I don't even know what company it was. I think it might have been a shampoo commercial. The old one that said, they told two friends, and they told two friends, and so on and so on and so on. It just grew. These writers just started telling their friends in the industry what a good time it is. And before we knew it, there were 4, 8, 16, 32, and all that. And so it just kept growing, literally. So now I don't have a precise number in front of me. I think it's like 40-some.
Your website
who are going to join us.
Your
this
website indicates about 48.
Okay, I knew I was pretty close.
That's amazing.
So, like I say, it just grew. I don't think we ever planned it to be that way. We're not really considered like, say, Balticon, which, from my point of view, this may not be true, but I've always seen that as much more of a literary con, at least it used to be. Mm-hmm. So we just consider the authors to be one of the important elements of making Shore Leave what it is. But yeah, these writers get together. I mean, yes, they're selling their books, they're autographing books. We have a party on Friday night. We've been doing this for many years now. It's called Meet the Pros. And what we do is we set up a huge series of tables in our main autograph hallway downstairs. And almost every single author that's there, and a handful of our scientist guests will just sit there and they'll have their books and they'll sign their books and talk with you, and they network with each other and plan projects together. And these writers also have a lot to do with the programming of Shore Leave too. They sit in on an awful lot of panels. Many of them will do what's called workshops. Workshops is where they'll literally have a group of people together, like folks who are aspiring writers. It's all on the website, and they'll help to instruct them on like how to write an outline, how to get an agent, how to get into the business, and everything. So they help us out with that kind of programming. And like you said, a lot of times these writers can be some of our best ambassadors. So over the course of time, it has just sort of just grown and grown to the point where sometimes we have trouble finding room for them all. But it's a nice problem to have.
Now, two things. I did not realize this, and I just realized another friend of the show is going to be at Shore Leave. Sorry, did you know that Larry is going to be there?
Yeah, I see his picture on the
Larry
website
Nemechek.
right that's awesome.
The one of our really good friends. Last year at Vegas, we had quite an adventure with him trying to get back to the hotel.
Did he write the Next Generation Companion back in the day?
Yes, and he's also the writer on the star charts that came out last year, I think it was.
Just recently, yeah. And two of the other writers, I don't like to consider anybody being any higher than anybody else. They're all worthy, all at some specialty dimension. But a couple of the writers that we just, that I think are coming to their first Shore Leave, they've written a lot of nonfiction Star Trek books. Paula Block and Terry Erdman.
We love them.
So
they've been on our show many times.
We absolutely love them and adore them.
I can't wait to see them again.
Well. I think this might be their first Shore Leave, and we're very, very excited to have them as well. Not that our other friends aren't extremely important, but we're very excited to have them too. Whenever a new member, joins the fray, so to speak, we always, get very excited about it. So as you can see, sometimes it seems like there's more guests than there are attendees. It's hard to keep track of them all.
Well, and again, it's the small convention thing. Shore Leave changed my life in more than one way. I was talking, this was about 3 years ago, Mike? Yeah. I was talking with the authors Scott Pearson and Dave Galantner, who I had gotten to know. And I saw somebody, and I thought she was somebody's daughter setting up the father's book area. And they were like, no, she's one of the authors. We became incredibly tight. She's one of my best friends in the world, is Kelly Medding.
Mm-hmm.
And she, because of Shore Leave, I had never read urban fiction or urban fantasy. Because of Kelly's books, because we were dating at the time, I was reading them, and it opened up just a whole new world to me, and that's because of Shore Leave.
Well, there you go. You never know who you're going to meet and the friendships you're going to create just by talking to people out there.
Yeah, except for DeCanado. What are you?
Hey, leave Keith alone.
Be nice.
The Boogie Nights.
Hey, that's another element. I'm not really into the famous folk sing and everything, but I also greatly respect those who have the guts to get on that stage and do that. And the Boogie Nights and folks like that have been doing this for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
They go on and on. Relationships change and everything, and marriages come and go, and sometimes the names have changed over the years, but they keep on going. And I have to give them all the props and all the respect in the world because they bring their own special thing. Some folks, for example, a lot of times Boogie Nights will be on opposite a guest star, but a lot of folks, they're there to see the Boogie Nights, and that's the way it is, and that's where they're going to sit. What I like to tell folks who are just going to their first convention or their first Shore Leave, I tell them, what you need to do, grab that program book, grab that pocket program, and find yourself a corner somewhere and start circling. And you, especially on Saturday, you are going to find yourself wishing that you could clone yourself into 3, 4, 5 people because
some
there
of the writing
are like 10, 12 tracks
so much
going
fun
on at the same time, and it is just no way possible that you can get in all the things that you want to do. So yes, we may be a very small convention compared to a lot of the ones you've mentioned, But we like to think that we can offer pretty much all the programming that these other conventions do in a much smaller space.
Yeah, because you guys have the writing workshops with guys, well, with people like Howard Weinstein, Bob Greenberger, Dave Glantner, Bob Jones, and Kelly Medding. And it's also so much fun because there's things that you wouldn't get other places, like Keith DeCandido every year does a self-defense workshop.
Things you wouldn't ordinarily associate with a science fiction convention, but I remember when Erin Gray came. What an amazing lady. Still gorgeous, by the way.
Yes.
She's come 2 or 3 times to Shore Leave. I've always been a big Buck Rogers guy. And I think when she was here the last time, she did a workshop on Tai Chi. She's a very very heavy believer in that. One's self-image and inner strength and all that. And she gave a workshop on that, so it's not unheard of. So there are all kinds of workshops sometimes for things you would not expect. That's why you got to keep a close eye on that schedule. But yeah, you're going to find yourself wishing that you were, twins or triplets, because there's just no way to get to everything. Every year I tell myself, I'm going to see more of these science talks. I'm going to see more science talks. And every year I never quite get to it because I always wind up talking to somebody that I haven't seen in a while, or it's, right opposite this person I've just got to see or something like that. It's difficult. Sometimes folks will say, what am I going to do the whole weekend? I say, believe me, it's not enough. Your time is going to be full. You're going to sometimes be challenged to find time to go to the bathroom and get yourself something to eat.
Right on. And you guys have a couple artists attending this year as well. So, I mean, it seems like you guys cover the entire gamut of media. I mean, you have you represent television and film. You represent books, science. I mean, artists, performances. There's even a film festival. I mean, you guys pretty much do it all.
Right. We used to call it video. In fact, that's what I used to do before I got into publicity. Back in the day, and you guys are a little bit younger than I, so I'm sure you remember these times. Well, maybe not, because you're fairly new to conventions. But for those who've been at conventions for a long time, sometimes I shock some of our younger attendees when I tell them that there was a time when you could totally fill up a ballroom with people just showing uncut Star Trek episodes in the blooper reel. For folks who've never known a world without DVDs and video streaming and video on demand 24/7, the idea that these things were rarities that people would stand in line to see is totally shocking to them. So I used to create a video schedule, and I would be the one to, get some colleagues of mine. We're all going to take a shift, and we're going to run different movies and episodes featuring our guest stars and everything. But yeah, years ago it was called Video, but now it's called the Alternative Film Festival. And by that I mean it has to do with a lot of the fan films that are out there right now. One of my colleagues does an excellent job. He goes out there and he tries to find the best and what's getting buzz out there amongst these fan films, and he gets them and tries to run them and everything based on what we can get. And let me tell you, like we mentioned briefly earlier, talked about Star Trek Continues. These films are not stuff that's made in your basement anymore. I mean, the technology has gotten to the point where a lot of these films look every bit as good as the official stuff, So it's very exciting. Whenever I can possibly find the time, I love to catch a few of those, or at least write down the name of the website so I can check it out later on, because it's a real joy seeing that. One thing I've always said, and I think you'll agree with me, is whenever the powers to be, that's a standard fandom term, powers to be, have denied us our fix of Star Trek, we made our own, right?
Yeah,
this is nothing new. This goes all the way back to the 70s, back when people wrote zine stories and things like that, So whenever there wasn't new Star Trek around, we as fans, those who had the time and the imagination and enough friends to do it, simply make your own. And that's another thing about fandom that I find wonderful. Everybody has unique gifts and talents, and they all love to contribute, in one way or the other to this Star Trek universe that has been so much of our lives, for so very long now.
Right on.
Sorry, do you have anything else?
Well, I was going to say we support, the fan film community as well. We talk about all of them that that we can find, and a lot of the issues that the fandom encounters, so especially in recent times. But still, like you said, it really does come down to the fact that fans, we love Trek so much that we want to be a part of it, and we will create, we will innovate, we will do whatever it is that our inner talents whatever our inner talents are, we apply them in order to celebrate Star Trek. A lot of us are fan fiction writers, or in my case, I produce audio fiction for Trek. So yeah, the fact that you guys celebrate that is fantastic, and so I wish I could be there, because that would be where you would find me.
I mean, it's so amazing. 50 years. I want to to wax nostalgic on you, but just recently running around the country, in fact, I don't know if it's finished now or not. Did you hear about the Star Trek The Ultimate Voyage, the concert that was running all around the country?
Yes.
And my brother and I went to see that here in downtown Baltimore, and the memories just came flooding, fast and thick. It was an amazing experience. I had to go out, even though I've got all the original soundtracks, I just had to go out and buy the CD to the concert, double CD. It's very good, but and it made me think about, the best way I can put it into words. Remember at the end of Generations when Picard mentions about how time is that friend, that guy that goes with you on the journey to remind you to cherish every moment? Well,
yes.
That I often say something similar about Star Trek, because you see, I'm not quite 50 yet, and so there's never been a time when Star Trek wasn't there. There never was a time when it wasn't a part of my life, and it's been that friend that has gone with me on this journey all this time. And Star Trek was never supposed to be easy. It wasn't supposed to be just go by the status quo. Gene Roddenberry especially always wanted to shake up the status quo and make people think and think about things in a new way and experience the future. But a lot of times what happens is that I'm trying to get it into words. But, I like to think of it now as kind of like my comfort food. In other words, even though I've seen all the classics zillions of times, there are some times where I just can't help but just pull out those old DVDs and those giant, yellow, red, and blue clamshell cases that took 10 minutes.
I got those too, yeah.
And I can't help but pull those out and just put on an episode because it makes me feel good. I know what I'm getting. I know that I'm just as excited or laugh or get shaken up or be touched by something every bit as much now as when I was a little kid and my older brother, who's 10 years older now, would show me my first episodes when I was real little and show me all the original James Blish novelizations and Alan Dean Foster novelizations. He had all the original books as they came out, all the original Franz Joseph blueprints, all the things that came out in the 70s, which formed the basis of the Star Trek, merchandising bonanza that it is today. And so it takes me back to those times. So I guess maybe that's why I tend to stick with classic, no matter how brilliant Next Gen was. DS9 was such an incredible series. It did such amazing, groundbreaking things with that. But I guess because of emotionally what it meant to me, that's why I tend to stick with even the bad episodes from the third season. I tend to stick with because of all the things that one goes through in one's life. And no matter what's happening, Star Trek has always been there. And the fact that it's turned 50 has kind of made me, think about such things recently. And with the new movie coming out that I originally, had, shall we say, some concerns about when I saw that first trailer. But now that they had that big to-do out in California and showed some new footage, it actually looks like it might actually be a pretty good movie. But just, it's a shame that it's coming out 1 week after Shore. Originally, it was going to come out the same time, but apparently they had to wait until the IMAX theaters were available.
Yeah.
Because that way, there would have been we would have had 2-3 different panel discussions about the new movie, but it won't quite be.
Yeah, because Tarzan is coming out at that time that it was originally supposed to.
And they had reserved them all. Yeah, we covered it a few last year when the news first broke. It was a shame.
Yeah. And I did mean to go off the subject a little bit, but I felt it was important considering the 50th anniversary that maybe some of your listeners might take a moment after listening to this and maybe think a little bit about, especially the older members of your listenership might start thinking about what it means to them and all the people that they've met, the friendships they've made because of it. So these are important things. And as you get older, they become more and more important to you. There was a time when I was in my teens and 20s and everything where I just had to get all the autographs and everything, and I had to buy everything I could find in the dealer's room and all that. Worry about how to pay for it later, right? Good old magic plastic. Now, in these more recent years, it's become more about the people that are there, seeing old friends, making new ones, and just taking part in that ritual that Shore Leave is every year. It's an important part of one's life, and for those who don't understand it or have never been to one, I always try to say, embrace your inner geek. I mean, go and just have a good time, between all the different things that we've mentioned tonight, as far as different options, different things you can do, surely you'll find something that you're going to like. And like we said at the beginning, Major Barrett said, you might not think you have any friends, but really you do. When I do my press releases, sometimes I will write on there, all in the company of a few thousand of your closest friends that you didn't know you had, or something like that. And I found that to be very true. Of all the conventions that you guys have attended, well, Nick, you've been going, would you say, for about the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Is there a particular guest or moment that stands out to you? I'd like to put you on the spot for a moment with the time we have left, because so many people ask me, but I so rarely ask my gracious hosts, what really got to them, if there's some that really stood out, or a particular guest or moment that made me say, that they just say, hey, I'm really glad I came.
At Shore Leave or just in general?
Well, you could make it just at Shore Leave for, to lead off.
I want to say Katie Sackhoff, because she was just amazing. It was just so weird to see her, because I had just gotten home from Iraq, and because I had been in Iraq in 2005, I hadn't seen BSG. So I watched it on the entire series on DVD when I got home in 2009, and then she was at Shore Leave, and so BSG was it still is very, very special to me, because dealing with PTSD, BSG deals with a lot of those same issues in various ways. So it had a real personal connection with me. So it was just really cool, and to just to see her and Edward James Olmos, but also I think just meeting the authors. And the first interview I did in person with someone for this show was with Kristen Beyer at Shore Leave, and it was just so much fun. And she is just one of my favorite people in the world, because she just, if you know her, you know what I'm talking about. She's just hilarious.
Right on.
Most of the writers are.
Yeah. Except for
me, I tend to gravitate towards the last couple of years, because I've been going for 30 years now. One that immediately jumps out to me was Leonard Nimoy's Skype appearance a few years ago.
Yes, I was in Vegas.
I know, but it was a truly amazing, humbling thing. There were some technical issues at the beginning, but after the first few minutes, things calmed down. Everything was okay. I had seen Leonard Nimoy before, and it's not quite the same as in person, but we knew with his health, this is the best he could do for us. The audience was just simply in awe of this man, and rightly so.
It was like that when we saw him the year before in Vegas at his next to last in person. And 5,000 people were in the room, and it was just silent in there.
And he was so, thankful to everybody. He was extremely kind, obviously extremely intelligent. He seemed so thankful to all the kind words that were given to him down through the years. And we got to hear him sing Maiden Wine, you know that song from Plato's Stepchildren?
Yeah.
He sang it with his grandson. Now, how cool is that? His grandson right next to him, accompanying on the guitar. And we knew he was very ill. We didn't realize that we would lose him right after that. So to have been in that room to hear that is a major high point for me. Seeing, not too long before that, seeing Kate Mulgrew, amazing actress. Like you mentioned, Edward James Olmos, major respected actor in whatever he has been in. Just an incredible actor. Folks like that. Saw William Shatner a few years ago. It was a one-day Saturday thing. He zipped in for one day and zipped out. But it was brief. It was like a dream come true. We've seen Robert Picardo a few times in the last 10 years, and he is among the funniest, most original, most genuine men I've ever seen in my life. I remember the last time one time, I don't know if it was an early time or a more recent time, where he was raising money for our charity, and one thing we didn't get a chance to mention today was another thing I'm so proud of with Shore Leave fandom in general is that no matter what the economy is like year to year, folks are very, very generous with their time and with their funds to any kind of charity that's going on. You know, the Maryland Food Bank, the blood drive, and everything that goes on, or any other charities are going on. Anyway, long story short, the money was diverted. Some money had been collected. Was totally, without him knowing about it, was given to him, take with him. And Robert Picardo was never speechless. Well, in this case, he was. And that was an extremely touching moment. I can't believe he was such a dear man. I can't believe. I guess I'm just tired. I can't think of his name right now. What was the name of that wonderful man who played the Doctor on Babylon 5?
Oh, the black gentleman?
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't remember. I can hear his voice.
I cannot think of his name, but I know who you're referring to.
I can't quite reach my DVD collection. My D5 DVDs aren't very far from here, and I'm going to think of it 1 minute after we hang up from this thing. But he had come a few times. He was tremendously popular, extremely kind, had young kids at home. He wrote in a program book to us. His last appearance. I had such a wonderful time.
Richard Biggs.
I will be back. Sorry,
Richard Biggs.
That's it. And he told us he would be back. And then the man died. And that always stuck with us. Because he was so incredibly kind and genuine with fans. So that was a major blow to us. So some good moments and some more poignant moments. Just a few of many.
I hate to ask this because I don't want to confuse it with Farpoint because they're both so close together in distance. Was it a couple of years ago at Shore Leave where they had the Alan Dean Foster briefcase? No, that was Farpoint.
I think that's Farpoint. They're wonderful people at Farpoint. Not the exact same people put on Farpoint, but they are friends of ours. And like us, they are a fan-oriented convention. And
yeah, that's why I was hesitant.
Very, very heavy into performing arts and the radio shows they put on and, writing contests and things like that. They put on an amazing show. They don't go to the same hotel anymore. They go down to Timonium and we're up in Hunt Valley. But yeah, the only problem with them is they tend to have their convention in the dead of winter. And there have been years where they've literally been snowed in.
Yep.
Yeah,
Valentine's
that's the
Day
worst
weekend
time
every
of year in Maryland for snow, you see. Unless you know your Maryland weather, that's just about the worst. There have been times where folks have been snowed in at a Farpoint. So,
I got snowed in there 2 years ago.
So you know what it's like.
Yes, I do.
But there you go. So was there anything else, any ground? I'm sure I'll think of 10 or 12 things after we finish,
well,
but
as a selling point for you, it's easily accessible. Hunt Valley's easily accessible from BWI for people. If you can't get into the Hunt Valley Inn, there's plenty of hotels right next door.
Right across the street, yeah.
Literally
on the website, we have like a listing of 10 or 12 near. We try to make our website www.shore-leave.com. Don't forget the little dash in between that. Shore-leave.com. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible. And one of the links is local hotels. It's like 10, 12 hotels that's within like a 20-minute drive of there. So yeah, that's one thing. It's right there. But yes, it is very easy to find by car. It's right off a major interstate called Interstate 83 which goes straight north from the Baltimore Beltway, heading north towards York and Harrisburg, up that way. and it's on a street called Shawan Road. But yes, it is very easy to find. I also like to remind your listeners out there that pre-registration does stop on June 15th. However, memberships will be available at the door. You either come for individual days or all 3 days. But if you're looking to pre-register, please get on the website right away, because that's being cut off in a few days. Because after all, as we record this, we're only like 5 weeks out, so it's really bearing down on us.
Very good. Real quick, you guys have a great lineup in your dealer's room, including a few friends of ours, Janice Sandberg for one. So hopefully, if anyone who does go down to the Shore Leave convention, will definitely pay a visit to the dealer's room and check out all the wonderful things that are available there. And one last thing really quick. You guys also support charities, like let's see, the food bank, the blood drive, and any other charitable organizations you guys support?
Well, there are always 3 or 4 charities that are part of Shore Leave in the past several years. I mean, ones that go back almost to the beginning are the Maryland Food Bank, collecting money and non-perishable food items. The Maryland Food Bank, that's been going on for very many years. We always try to have a Red Cross blood drive every year. Some years it's the whole weekend. I think this year it's just Sunday. Much of that has to do with the availability of their bloodmobile. So that's pretty much, we're at the mercy of when those giant vehicles are available. I think it's Sunday this year. That's something that we're very honored to be a part of. There are other charities that collect at Shore Leave, which are on a year-to-year basis. I wish I had the exact list right in front of me. I know that Service Dogs is one of them, something that's very much near and dear to my heart. The animals who help our men and women in uniform overseas.
Right on.
So that's definitely one that we are involved with this year. I think one of the other ones this year may be the COPD Foundation. I forget the official name.
Very cool.
Everything that happened with Leonard Nimoy and everything, from what he suffered and everything. So that's another organization that I think there's going to be, I don't think it's been determined exactly when it is. We usually have a charity auction every year. Some years it's Friday, some years it's Saturday. That's yet to be determined as the schedule starts coming together. But that's definitely another one on there. But all the direct information, all the links and everything would definitely be on our website. Like I say, that's another thing that I'm very proud of, that no matter what the economy is like year to year, our attendees are always very, very generous with helping these things out. They give them themselves, they give of their time and their finances, and it's something that makes me very, very proud to be associated with an endeavor such as this.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mike, for taking the time to join us and talk about Shore Leave. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure as well. I hope I didn't go off the subject too much, or I didn't bore you too much. But
no,
I think
not at all.
You can tell that I'm deeply passionate about it. And if I wasn't on the committee, I would probably still be doing this, because, like I say, I've been going to Shore Leave ever since number 8, and it's meant a lot to me down through the years. And
Shore Leave
mean a great deal to me, and it's something that I'm obviously very passionate about. And I sure hope that I know Nick, one of your colleagues, are going to be joining us, and I hope that many of your listeners will be in the environment, so to speak, and be able to stop in and check us out. We'll save a little space for you.
Oh, I can't wait to meet you there in person.
I just wanted to say really quick that Shore Leave is on my convention bucket list. It's one convention I would love to attend, and someday I hope to actually be able to make it.
Yeah, a couple of years ago I did the show, because we are live on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I was in room 2001. Woo! And I did the show live from there, but I sounded more like this. Oh, how are you? Because I had been out with the authors all night.
Serves you right.
Yeah, it sure did. But
that's the problem when you got a convention where things go till 2 in the morning on Friday and 3 in the morning on Saturday, and then you got programming at 10 a.m. starting up on Sunday. So I guess you're just asking for it.
When you hear, oh man, I got a panel in like 4 hours.
Right. They don't call it Dead Dog Party at the end for nothing.
Right.
But it's so much fun, and Mike can tell you that I've raved about the convention for years.
Definitely.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you, Nick and Mike. I hope you're able to get down there sometime. And as far as the future of Shore Leave goes, and it seems like a year-to-year thing. I mean, it seems like so many of our brother and sister conventions, even ones that have been around for forever, have in recent years packed up shop due to, the graying of fandom, as the old saying goes, and the changing market conditions, and, giant conventions come along and grab up all the guests and everything so they can't compete. But surely must be doing something right. Because not only, I know that I'm not trying to steal Mr. Spock's line, but not only have we lived long, but we've prospered. People seem to want us to keep going, and as long as we are able to do it, as long as people want us to do it, we will continue to throw a 3-day party with our dearest friends every summer for as long as we possibly can. We're looking to keep it going. And it's, thanks to wonderful folks like you who help us spread the word about what we do, which are so very important. So there's probably still a few folks out there who might not know about what we do and what, Shore Leave can offer you. So, I do thank you very much on behalf of the rest of the Shore Leave team for all your efforts with this. But it was a great pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you for allowing me to go on and on the way I have. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and we will be plugging Shore Leave up until the weekend when I'm there, and I have also a couple of years gone live on Trek Radio. We've done cross promotion with them, doing live updates from the floor of the convention, so that's been fun. So yeah, we're really gonna get the word out, and we post photos on our website, gntshow.com, and like I said, we were at Awesome Con last weekend, and I took my friend to his first convention, and today he wrote a blog, and it's up with all his photos. So we definitely give the experience to those, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. And
July 15th through the 17th.
Yep, that's right. Hope to see you all there.
Very good.
So we want to thank Mike Schilling so much for joining us. If you're in the Maryland, Virginia, D.C., Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey area, and you got nothing going on that weekend, quite honestly, it's worth it. And it's a family event. That's one of the things we didn't even talk about is you'll see grandkids there with their grandparents. And that's a convention thing, but because of the nature of Shore Leave, it's much more pronounced.
Yeah, we can't really go into it, but it's but you're right. You'll see everything from little babies there all the way up to grandfathers there, everything in between. There are literally generations of kids who have grown up at Shore Leave.
Yeah, I saw the most adorable little Dalek last year.
Teenagers, they discover the gaming and everything, and they meet up with their friends there, and they go to the late night activities and everything, and you see them down through the years. That adds to the family element. But there's folks from all across the board come to the convention.
And real quick, that's something too. If you go and you've got children, especially say like 12, 13, 14, and you're staying in that hotel, it is a safe place to be. Believe me, everybody looks out for everybody else. I've never seen anything like a fight, nothing like that at Shore Leave.
Well, that's something that I'm also very proud of. Also, and of course I can't take the credit for that, but that's just it speaks towards the kind of folks that we have there, and the fact that almost everybody knows everybody else. Maybe not their name and everything about them, but they sort of say, "Oh yeah, I see that guy. He's always here," and all that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get a chance to mention that we do also have tracks of programming specifically for the little ones.
Yes,
we have a children's programming track, and something just in the last couple of years, we've developed a teen programming track. This is fairly new. It's been very popular so far. So for those of a different age set who may not be all that interested in dealers' rooms and autographs and panel discussions and things like that, we try to tailor certain things specifically, to their taste, but still within a family environment. They'll still have some supervision, and that's something else that we've tried to add. So I always try to tell folks a little something for every fan's taste. So that's what we try to do.
And before I forget, and I meant to do this at the beginning, what is the theme for Gene Roddenberry this year?
Oh wow, I'd have to contact the lady who puts those together. I oftentimes don't know that until the actual guest. Obviously, Nick knows this, but Mike, were you aware of the Shore Leave tradition of every guest star who comes their first Shore Leave gets the Shore Leave bunny before they leave?
I did not know that. No.
All right. Now, you of course know where the name of our convention comes from, right?
Yes.
Right. The first season episode, Shore Leave. In fact, I can't believe I didn't get a chance to mention this. But remember when Spock said it's an amusement park, a place where people can go and do all sorts of fascinating things?
Yes.
Well, that's a good way to describe Shore Leave right there. So for the last, I don't know if it goes back all the way to the beginning, but for many, many years, each guest who's at their first Shore Leave, if they appear, say, on a Sunday and they're there the whole weekend, or if they're just one day for Saturday, they do it Saturday, one of our committee members will have a Shore Leave bunny made up, dressed up in a certain way, and presented to them. Sometimes also with a couple other gifts as well. It varies year to year. But you always get a little goodie bag, but especially the Gene Roddenberry. We always get the Shore Leave bunny as part of it. So that's just one of the little traditions
that's awesome.
that we do every year. But as far as what the name of, the format's going to be, they're probably just working on that right now. I give credit to those who have artistic skills who are going to do some. But yeah, a lot of times our attendees don't know that until it actually happens. Yeah, we always do that to our guests when they make their first Shore Leave appearance. So I'm glad that you touched on that. This is one of those little tiny elements of Shore Leave that kind of endears it to a lot of people.
Great. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. It's been a truly fun talk, and I'm looking forward just about a month away to seeing you.
Yeah. As we record this 5 weeks from tomorrow, so
making my 45-minute drive and heading down. So
look forward to seeing you.
For my co-host Ceridium,
Kapla,
and for Mike Schilling,
take care, everybody.
This is Gettysburg saying Jolan True Shore Leavers. What?
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5-Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Grethor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk factor 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel